What's a moment from your teenage years you're still processing as an adult? I broke up with my girlfriend because I hated her family. When we first met, my girlfriend was the sweetest girl I'd ever met. The type to sit outside a church and write poems about strangers who pass by, to make you feel like you're on top of the world, even on your worst days. So when we went on a date for a picnic beside a waterfall and she refused to take off her jumper, I assumed she was just insecure or something. Well, I didn't want to pressure her, so I just reminded her that whatever she did was her decision, and she was beautiful, no matter what. After doing this, I put my arm around her, and her face contorted like she was cringing or something, but it wasn't in a disgusted way, more like I'm in pain sort of way. I pulled back and asked if I had accidentally pulled her hair to hurt her, and she shook her head. No, it's not you, it's... She then looked down at the ground while her mouth was half opened, like there was still more she wanted to say. I just looked at her with the most loving eyes I possibly could, and put my hand on her lower back as if to say, I'm not going anywhere. This made her smile, and that's when she finally showed me her arms. It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. Her skin was covered in cuts and injuries, all at the hands of her parents. A rage boiled my blood. I simply couldn't fathom that someone had been hurting my baby girl. So once the shock wore off, I asked if she wanted to sleep over at mine. We were in junior year, so my mom was still iffy about her coming to my bedroom, but I knew that if I explained things to her, she would understand. Luckily, Sarah agreed, and when we got there, she explained everything. She said it so clearly, and I remember being super proud of her. Immediately, my mom lunged at her for a hug and insisted that she could stay as long as she needed. And I guess my mom noticed how surprised I was at her willingness to host, and that's when she sat down at the table and did a long, drawn-out sigh. Turns out, her own parents had been extremely abusive too, and during all those years where my mom felt helpless and alone, she always wished she had an adult figure who understood, who'd keep secrets for her, and now she was happy to be that person for Sarah. Over the next few days, it became very clear that Sarah was going to stay for a lot longer than a few days. My mom had given her the guest bedroom and even bought her lavender bed sheets, her favorite color, and a new wardrobe of clothes. And whenever Sarah felt like a burden, I made sure to reassure her that she doesn't need to earn love or care because she was already enough. Every time she heard that, it made her blush really hard and hug me super tight, and I'd fall in love with her all over again. After a few weeks, she started referring to her room as my bedroom instead of the guest room, and felt comfortable enough to pour her own water and cook meals late at night. But that's when things took a turn. She would get mad at me for hanging out with my friends once every 2 weeks, when we'd all meet up and go to Chili's. You see, Sarah was pretty closed off and didn't really have anyone other than me and my mom. So at first, I tried to empathize. I tried to encourage her to make friends who enjoy poetry as much as she does, but she never did. And that's when her punishments began. Whenever I'd come home from seeing my friends, or even just going on a walk without her, I'd catch her in the bathroom self-injuring herself. For context, this was never something she told me about before. Plus, it only happened when I did something to make her upset. But back then, I was just a dumb 16-year-old with the intelligence of a chicken nugget. So to me, the solution was simple. Stop doing anything outside of Sarah, but it seemed like nothing was ever enough for her. Even if I texted my male friends about the homework or wanted to spend one-on-one time with my mom, it was always the same outcome. Tissue paper soaked in red that I'd find in the bathroom. It got to the point where I even started self-injuring, without telling her, of course, and started losing my will to live. And then came my breaking point. I was studying for exams in the after-school study club, one she refused to go to. And when I came home, instead of seeing my once loving and kind girlfriend and hugging her, I was greeted with Sarah pulling down her pants and showing me that she had put my name all over her legs. It was so horrifying that I had to break up with her and told her she had to leave immediately. Even my mom agreed and carried Sarah to the car to drive her home. The days following were awful. I felt somewhat relieved, but mainly guilty. I started to believe that her family was my fault, that I wasn't forgiving enough. And as I went to unblock her at 3 a.m. to apologize, I saw it, a text from her sister. Sarah had taken her own life. The rest of the full story is on my channel and linked below.